All right, so hi guys, welcome back to just a little bit of tutorials here. So I'll be having the sine, the law of the sine actually, or the sine rule. So you can call it the law of the sine or the sine rule, which is basically used to solve questions, most especially when we have the angle side or we have the side angle being given. So all of this is more or less a relationship between all of it. It comes from the congruence. At the same time, it comes from similarity as well. So we can always use things like this to find the missing sides of a triangle. So I'm going to start with something very basic, something hopefully you can understand exactly what I mean. So I'm just going to go ahead and label my triangle so we can see what we mean, because triangle actually is a very useful kind of mathematics in our basic and daily life. But hopefully we can all apply this law uh, and see the usage. So let's just go ahead. So let's imagine, for example, if this is a C, okay, and this is side A, or let's just say this is, yeah, this is A, side A, and this will be side B, and at the same time, this will be side C. So it's ABC. So what I want to do is, I just want you to understand that the side that is actually reflected here, that means this angle is actually for this A. And this angle here is actually for that of B. And that angle is that for C, which simply means that angle A, the total sum of angle in a triangle, the total sum of angle in a triangle should be equals to 180, or the sum, I'm going to write it here clearly. So the sum of angles in a triangle should be equals to 180 degree. This should be basic from your grade 5 or grade 6 already. So we should already understand this concept whenever we talk about this. So what I want you to understand here is, in order to get the exact side when you use sine rule or the sine law, the law of the sine, is you have to take note of the sides. So as long as you have an A here, or whatever side that is here, the side that reflects this side, the angle reflects this side, that will be your A, the small letter A. Same thing goes, same thing applies. So if that will be my A, the same thing applies. If this side is actually reflected down here, that means this side will be it will be my B. The same thing happens here. If this side will be reflected at this point, that means it will be my C. So that's exactly what I mean when we use the, it has to be like the small c. So that tells you that the ABC, the A plus the B plus the C is equals to your 180, which is the total sum of angles in a triangle. But the sides are different. Okay, so when can you then apply the sine rule? The sine rule can be applied if we have two angles. Okay, I'm going to clean this out so we can have a clean space. And if we have two angles in one side plus one side, or, so I'm going to put when here, when to apply the law, the sine law, the sine rule. Okay, if we can cite two angles and one side, or we have two sides plus one angle. So whenever we see something like this, that tells you when that this is the right time to apply the sine rule. And basically from this part of this, I'm going to slide this up a little bit, tilt it up a little bit, so we can then understand the basic formula. So I'll just go ahead and show you the basic formula. Hope you may have an idea already of the basic formula of the sine rule. So remember, it's more from the congruence down to the similarity. If you may have done ratio before, so the relationship of trying to compare sides, the corresponding sides. But here we're talking about one triangle, okay? So now we want to know the ratio of this sides. and a triangle. So at the same time, now we're dealing with angles and sides. So they must always what? Correspond to each other. So the basic law in terms of ratio or in terms of proportion related to congruence, as you can see, we're using the angle, 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 side, and at the same time, we're using side, side, angle. These are postulates from the congruence theory. So we're also trying to see how well we can still apply these principles in the sine rule. So you don't throw them away, you're actually going to use them. So these, remember, the small letters or the lowercase are actually the sides, and the uppercase are always a function of the angle. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply, see the formula of exactly what I mean. So for the A, it's going to be, let's say the ratio, this should always be over sine A. Okay, you can always check your calculator to check, because the sign is from negative to 1, negative 1 to 1. That is the ratio of sine, from negative 1 to 1. So don't let it exceed. If it goes beyond that, then you have no solution. Okay, and it is possible to have that kind of problem where you have no solution. But I won't be solving something like that. I'll just give you something basic that we can actually focus on for now. So another thing, this must be equal to the B over our sine B. Remember, it's a big B. So the lowercase, it's also equals to the C over your sine C. So this may be the reverse. It may be sine A over A is equals to sine B over B is equals to sine C over C. Just make sure you are consistent with whatever process that you decide to use on your own. And that's the fun part about it. So it's more about, it's telling you that everything we're doing is just related to understanding this whole principles or concepts of sine. So I'll go ahead and take one problem so we can actually understand. I'll just push this forward. Feel free to pause the video at any time, and so you can always understand exactly what we're doing here. So I'll just go ahead and try to solve one problem already. Okay, so I have a problem here that says, for example, I have your problem actually comes like this. So for example, forgive my handwriting. For example, A is, we have A, which is what, 60 degrees, and we have B, which is 70 degrees, and we have one side, which is what, 8. So I'm going to put this 8. So how can I then draw my triangle? So I'll try to draw my triangle so we can actually see exactly how it can be best represented here. So I'm going to draw my triangle here, there. I already have my triangle. So this is exactly how I want my triangle to look like. So I'm just going to go ahead and label it just any way I want. So I'll make this A, I make this B, I make this C. Just any way you want to label it. Just make sure you're consistent. So this will be my A side. So my A is actually 60 degrees. What is my B? My B is actually 70 degrees. And, you know, this side, this is opposite my A side. So it's going to be, the A will be rightly below the A. So the small letter A will be at the bottom here. So that will be 8. As you can see, I already have a problem here. So I can go ahead and find, the question is find C. That's the big angle, okay? The big angle. At the same time, I need to find AB, side AB, and I can also find side AC. So I have 3 problems here. So let's go ahead and apply the sine rule. And remember, I hope you still remember the formula. So be consistent, guys. Be consistent with whatever concept or formula you decide to use on your own. So I'll be using, once again, the A over the sine A is equals to the small b over the sine b is equals to, remember it's sine, you can always find the function on your calculator, is equals to C over sine C. Just pick any of these 2 ratios and then you can already start solving. And they must always be consistent. They cannot change. They must always be equal at any point in time. So let's go ahead and see and apply this formula. So we have A, which is 8. So it's 8 over 60. Sorry, it's going to be sine 60. Pardon me. It's going to be sine 60 which is equals to, what is my B? My B is, we don't have a B here. So this is my small letter B, and this is also my small letter C. You can see this is the side that faces what? The angle. The side that faces this angle. And for C, this is the side that faces C. But we can already find C because the sum of angle in a triangle is what? 180, which is equals to A plus B plus C. So if 180 is equals to A plus B plus C, what is my A? A is 60 plus what is B? B is 70 and plus C. So 180, I can already find C. So 180 is equals to 60 plus 70 is, I'll quickly check that on my calculator. You can always check that. 60 plus 70, that's 130. 130 plus C. So our C will be equals to, let's take this to the other side. Okay, for those people who may need clarification, 130. So your C is equals to what? 50 degree. So this C is what? 50 degree already. So we already have the angle for C. Very simple. So we already have the angle for our C. So all we need to do is calculate AB and what? AC. So I have my 60 degree. What is my B? I don't know my B. So over sine B. What is my sine B? As you can see from here, sine B is 70 degree, which is equals to my C over, I think I know my A, so I'm going to put my A here as 8. And what is my C? Sine 50 degree. Remember, when you sum the total angle in a triangle, it's equals to 180 degree. You must always remember that. So guys, I can use this already. I can use the first two. I can use the first two in order to find the missing side for B. That's exactly what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to push this up. So I'm going to use that just to integrate and find B, and then I can go ahead and use that to find C. So whatever you want to do, you may find C first, or you may decide to find B first. It's your choice. Choose whatever it's more compelling and okay for you. So I'm going ahead. So 8 over sine 60 is equals to B over sine 70. So I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. I like to use different colors whenever I cross multiply, just to make sure people are not confused with my concepts. So I have B sine 60 is equals to, okay, so the green color first before the red. So it's 8 times sine 70. So let's go ahead and find the value of B. So B here, this is B, okay? Don't get it confused. So divide both sides by sine 60. Divide both sides by sine 60. So 60 cancels 60. So what is my B at the end of the day? It is 8 times sine 70. Remember, your sine is always on your calculator. The function is there. Divided by sine 60. So my answer here is 8.68. So I'm just going to make my answers to 2 decimal places. So we already know the value for the small b. So let's go ahead and also find the value of our c. Okay, so the b value already is AC. Okay, so this is already side AC. So let's go ahead and find side AB. Remember from my formula, I'll take you back already. So I'll take you back to this concept here, this side here, where we can also have the 8 over, or maybe I'll just put the formula then just to make you more consistent and remember your formula. So it's A over sine A, okay, it's equals to B over sine B, it's equals to C over sine C. Remember, lowercase over uppercase. Always remember that. All right, so let's go ahead, substitute these values. So we have 8 over sine 60 is equals to, I think we already have, did we find the value for B already? B was 8 point something, right? Yes, 8 point, let's go back and check, 8.68. So that's the value for B. So it's 8.68 over sine, so what's the value for B? 70 is equals to, what's our C? C over sine, what is sine C? 50 degrees. So I already have these three concepts here. So I'll go ahead and choose. So I'll just pick this one and I'll pick this one as well. So because remember, they must always be equal at any time, just to find AB, because what we're looking for is AB. All right. So 8 over sine 60 is equals to C over sine 50. So I'll go ahead and I'll just clean this so it can be clearly visible, so everyone can try to understand. So once again, I'm going to use a different color. You cross multiply, very important function in mathematics. Sorry about the color, or the thickness rather of it. Yeah. So I'll pick the red first. No, rather let's pick the blue one. Okay. So it's a C sine 60 is equals to 8 times, or let me make this a dot. The dot is a function of multiplication, sine 50. So divide both sides by sine 60, so we can find the value of C. Divide both sides by sine 60. So this cancels this. So what is the value for C? So just go ahead and use my calculator. Sorry about that. Just go ahead and use my calculator here. So the C is equals to 8 times sine of 50. So my answer here is 7.076. So this is approximately 7.08. So this is my C already. So my C value, which is also my C, is 7.08. So this is the value of my C. So guys, by the way, this is how you solve questions. This is how you solve questions whenever you use the sine rule. Okay, so let's have another example. Hopefully this will help us, and we can call it a wrap up. So one last example. So for number 2, let's assume we have another side. So A is equals to 42 degrees. And then remember, I solved the two sides, one angle. So let's solve one angle, two sides. Remember, whenever you always have angle, angle, side, or side, side, angle. These are most likely two concepts that you will always get these are the times where you're supposed to use the sine rule, okay? The law of sine or the sine rule. Angle, angle, side, two angles, one side, or two sides, one angle. A very, very important concept before you use what? The sine rule. Don't forget that. Okay, so A is 42, back to our question, and one angle, so let's see the two sides. A is equals to 10 and B is equals to 9. So already we can go ahead and draw what our triangle would look like. So I'm just going to draw. Sorry, pardon my triangle. It's not a good one. There. So I'll just go ahead and label my triangle just the way I deem fit. I can start here, make this A if I want to. So this is A, this is B, this is C. My choice. Just the way I want to draw my triangle. It's the way I'm going to draw it. Okay. So what is my A? The angle for my A, this is my small a, this is my small b, and this is my small c. So just clean that up, just for your reference purposes. So A here is 10, and what is B? B is 9. And what is my angle A? My angle A is 42 degrees. So I don't know my angle C, and I don't know my angle B. So once again, let's apply the law of the sine rule here and see if we can actually solve this problem. Okay, so feel free anytime to try this problem on your own using the same concept. Just try the concept on your own, try the problem, and see if you can try it out. But make sure you just pause the video, or you can just follow me at any time and just learn the concepts as well. So the formula once again is always A over sine A is equals to B over sine B is also equals to C over sine C. So remember, you just pick any two, which is more convenient for you, and then you can go ahead and start solving the concepts already. So once again, let's substitute for this value. So what is my A? The small a is 10 over what is my sine A, which is sine 42, is equal to my b. Obviously, my b is given as 9 over sine b, because I don't know the value. And for c over, I don't even have c. I don't even have anything about c. So c is very, very much um, uh, empty there. So the best thing actually to use for now is a and b. So I can easily get what? Sine b. So I'll just push this a little bit up a little bit. Hope you don't mind, because let's focus on the problem rather. So at this point we have 10 over sine 42 is equals to 9 over sine b. So let's cross multiply again. So I'll be using different colors as usual. Sorry, I explained that concept already of using different colors. I'm very much familiar with that because I understand the student might get confused with the cross multiplication principle. It's a very important law in math. So so I just have the 10 sine b. Okay, I'm picking the red first. It's equals to 9 times sine 42. So what do I have to do? I just have to divide both sides by 10. Divide both sides by 10. This is where it gets a little bit trickish, but you have the calculator, you have your inverse function, or you have the inverse function. It's always, I'm going to show you what the inverse function of sine actually looks like. Okay, so but basically it's more or less using your calculator. You're not expected to use your brain for now, except you've actually mastered the basic laws and the basic angles of sine. Okay, so let's cancel out. So we have sine b is equals to, so let's find the value of this already. So that is 9 times sine 42 divided by 10. So the answer here is sine b is equals to 0.6022. I'm just trying to make this at 4 decimal places at the same time because I know I have to change this to an angle. So you can work with 2 decimal places, you can work with 4 decimal places, depends on what you really want to achieve. But that's okay for now. So all I have to do is find the big angle now for b, and that is where the function, the inverse. Remember what inverse is? Inverse is raised to the power of -1 because I want to cancel out the sign. So it is sine inverse of 1. Okay, you can always see that on your calculator of this value. Just so the sign can cancel of that value. Just so the sign can cancel. That is the essence of having the sine inverse. It's just like you multiplied. What do I? Oh, this is exactly what I mean. You have your sign here. You have your sign. You have your sign. This is exactly what I mean here. I'll just explain this quickly, so you don't. This is 6. Okay. So in other words, to remove the b, you have to divide both sides by sine, right? Am I correct? So if you divide both sides by sine, remember this is always to the power of 1. Divide both sides by sine. Okay? Divide both sides by sine. Divide both sides by sine. So if you divide both sides by sine, you have b left is equals to, now let's take the sign upwards. Then this is where your indices comes in. This sign becomes 1 over sine, okay, 0.6022. Just to make things clearer, that's why I'm actually doing this. And there's no 1 here. This is just a 1, okay? You know, I just separated that guy. So b is equals to, now let's have the negative sign because I just want this to become inverse. So it's 0.6022. I hope this is clearer now. So our b now becomes, what is the sine inverse, okay, of that answer? You can always check that on your calculator. So you have 37.03 degrees. So this is your final answer for B, right? So we can go ahead and insert that on our triangle. So it's 37.03, or you can just make this 37 degrees on your own. So I'm just going to put 37.03 degrees. So I can already remember how to find my A, because A plus B plus C should be equals to 180 degrees at all times, Okay, so I have the value for A, which is my 42, plus my B, which is my newly found answer, plus my C, which I don't know yet. Okay, this is 180 degree. Pardon my my writing for now. Just make it clearer so you guys can actually see it. So I'll just go ahead and sum it up. 42 plus 37.03. So this is it will be 79.03 plus C is equals to 180 degrees. So what is 180? What is C? C is equals to 180 minus 79.03. So 180 minus our answer, and that should give us 100.97 degrees. So C should be equals to, remember it's a capital letter C, a big C, 100.97 degrees. And this is the value for C. So since I have the value for C, I think I can go ahead and find my C now. Here, I have my value for my C. I just to go back to our formula. We have the value for B. Remember, we're able to find the value for B because we have B to be 37. So the only thing that's left is to find the value for, we have the value for sine C. So it's to find the value for C. So I can just use the same concept here. This is what I'm going to do. I think I'm just going to solve it here. So at least I get to see exactly. Just pardon me if I move this downwards a little bit. So we don't get to work too much here. All right. So I think that should be enough. That should be enough already. So let's go ahead and solve this problem. Okay. So I'll just make this smaller a little bit. Yeah, just so we can maximize the whole space. So I have A. Yeah. I have A over sine A is equals to B over sine B is equals to C over sine C. Okay, remember these small ones are lowercase letter. All right, oh, sorry, I'll make it smaller. This should be bigger. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write. So it's going to be 10 over sine A, which is sine 42, is equals to B. What is B? B is was I able to find B? Yes, B is 9 over sine 37 is equals to C over, I have the value for C, sine 100.97. So just make it better. I think I can do better than that. Okay, is equals to C over sine 100.97. So this is already my answer. I think I can just choose whatever one you want to use and then we can solve. But for me, I'm going to be picking this one and this one. I think this is what I want to use in solving my own problem. In finding, it's not actually my problem, in finding the value for C. Okay? So let's go ahead and solve this problem. So we have 10 over sine 42 is equals to C over sine 100.97. So let's do the usual thing that we always do. We cross multiply just to make the math easier for us. We cross multiply, and we can already say, I'm just gonna push this up a little bit. You just forgive the background noise, okay? And so we have C multiplied by sine 42 is equals to 10 times sine 100.97. Okay, so divide both sides by sine 42. Divide both sides by sine 42. You can do this already without wasting so much of time. So what is the value for C? The value for C then easily becomes 10 multiplied by that. You can already do that as fast as possible. Okay, so I just go. So the value for C is 14 0.67. So this is already the value for C. This is already my answer. This is already my answer for C. So that is how you do the sine rule. So feel free to chat, put on the chat box whatever you want me to solve next, or whatever questions you have, and I'll be sure to answer those questions as soon as possible. So thank you so much for your time. You have a good day. Bye-bye.